The more people actually hear red meat is good for you, that it's nutrition, that's what the good Lord intended for us to eat, the better.
We're hunters, not grazers. In a modern world, we've been convinced that grazing is healthy, but we're all getting sicker. The cost of healthcare is going up. Everything's getting more costly, and there's got to be something wrong with it.
For so long, it was, minimal red meat. Have it splurge on holidays, or only have one burger patty in your burger. And now, the more we're learning, it's like, no, the bread's bad. It's the beef that's good. You can eat as much of that stuff as you want and feel better about it. Spinach isn't for everyone. It's almost like bad for you. Some of these things the cows were supposed to eat, so we can eat the cow, not the other way around.
There's been a lot of talk about cattle are depleting the ozone. They're contributing to CO2 levels.
I don't care. It's all fake. It's fake news. We have to unlearn that.
Welcome, everyone, to Kiltz Health and Carnivore Conversations, and we're here with Justin Pettit. Justin is the third-generation cattle rancher from California, co-founder of Santa Carota Beef, the only carrot-finished, grass-fed beef brand in the U.S., innovator behind beef that delivers both superior taste and nutrition, product featured by Gordon Ramsay, Wolfgang Puck, Michelin star chefs, and major media. Beef delivers 80% of daily B12 in one serving and consistently grades USDA Choice or Prime. This is the Santa Carota beef. They're committed to regenerative ranching, land stewardship, sustainable food systems. You live in Dallas with your wife and 3 children, and their meats are available nationwide, including on Amazon and through SantaCarotaBeef.com. And Justin, welcome and thank you for being here with us today.
Dr. Kiltz, thank you for having me. This is a pleasure.
Well, we met at Meat Stock in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I've tasted your meat, really amazing. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your history with your Santa Carota beef, and why you're in this.
Okay, well, my family's been feeding carrots to cattle my entire life.
Wow.
For 40 years. And then about 10 years ago, we were feeding, my dad and I were making some bred heifers, pregnant females, for, there was a big drought. The government came out and said that any rancher who has to sell part of their herd doesn't have to pay capital gains taxes for 3 years. So we were trying to time the market to where when it did rain, guys had to buy back in, we had pregnant females available because we had feed with the carrots when no one else did. But the ones that didn't breed up, free Martin, or they aborted or whatnot, we didn't have 100% breed up. Those were kind of the losers. And so we would take them to auction or, sell halves and wholes, grain them. And we heard of people finishing them in the past for like military contracts, but they always got docked or dinged for the yellow carrot fat. But we tried a few of them, and we ate the first one in April of 2017 on my birthday, and we're like, wow, this is good. Like, we got to do something about this. And so we knew it was God's calling, so we fired up marketing. You don't get a second chance for a first impression, and went off to the races. And we led with our ground beef because we heard so many times that people who try to vertically integrate in the beef business, they go out and they sell their steaks, and then they have a freezer full of ground beef. They don't have cash for it, So we kind of led with the ground beef, and then we had extra steaks. Well, that road led us to, getting into some Wolfgang Puck restaurants with our steaks. And then the Win, they were great. They came out and did a big photo shoot with us. And then The gal who wrote our story for the Win magazine sold it to Food and Wine. And from there, we started gaining popularity. Just started making money a week before COVID, and then COVID shut the whole thing down again.
Whoa.
It was wild. Absolutely wild.
Raising cattle and the beef business, it's not an easy business. Tell us a little bit about your family history and getting into it. What led you to say, hey, we got to try these carrots? And why do you think that carrot-fed beef is best?
Okay, those are some great questions. So I'm going to back all the way up. My grandfather came out to California during the Dust Bowl. Very poor. They lived in a tent till he was 12. and then his parents couldn't afford to feed him, so he had to leave the tent, and it was eventually adopted by this old cowboy that had a horse ranch, and they slowly converted it into a cattle ranch. He was a fireman, in his later life to have a subsidized income, but so was my dad. My dad was a fireman. I used to be on hot shot crews and chase the forest fires.
Oh, wow.
And it's something that you love. So many ranchers and farmers have second jobs, their wives work in town, because once it's in your blood, like that's God's calling for you. And so you will go to the ends of the earth to continue to farm and ranch. And, it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And so we did it, but it's been a great journey. And, in the 80s, my grandfather tried to buy a stack of hay from Bill Bolthouse Farms, big carrot company, and the hay was grown with their wastewater. So they wash the carrots with a batch of water. It lasts for a couple days, and they go out and it's got to grow non-human consumption food. And Mr. Bolthouse said, "Well, what can you do with these cold carrots?" So we fed them to some cows. We ended up taking over their wastewater program and growing hay. And I remember being like on a 3-wheeler as a kid out there, stinky water, changing valves with my dad in the middle of the night. And it was a great way to grow up and live, And so we fed a few of them, fed some cows. And then as the baby carrot was invented in our hometown, the carrot operations just grew, So we're also, we're 8 miles from Bolthouse Farms and 10 miles from Grimway Farms, which is also Cal Organic.
Where is this in
Bakersfield, California. Yep. So our ranch has essentially been built around the carrot operations, strategically located, because carrots are up to 90% water. So you don't want to haul water too far. You got to be close. And then also the big semi trucks, those trailers are like kind of like a garbage can for them. It's a residual food waste, but they got to have empty trailers to keep the plant going. So when they make a baby carrot, tips, tops, pieces, shavings, ugly carrots, cows aren't picky. And they love them. Like they come running off the hills for them.
Wow. Sweet, or they get more sweetness to them?
So cows either need starch or sugar for energy to grow. A lot of the corn-fed cattle, that's a starch. The grains are a starch. Natural grasses, that's a sugar. So the carrots are a sugar, but like when we test the meat, it's 0 sugar in it. So all of that sugar gets converted into the body. And
to good healthy protein and good healthy fats.
Heck yeah. And then on the meat side of it, carrots, all that water. So if a cow's gonna eat 15 pounds of grain, it's got to eat 150 pounds of carrots to get that same 15 pounds of dry matter. So all that extra water, it gets into the muscle tissue and just stretches and stretches, fills it up like a water balloon, So it's very, very tender when you eat it because of all that elasticity and stretching. And then when you bite into it, you get that pop in your mouth like a berry kind of taste.
What are the cows raised on?
So they're grass.
So they're on grass, right on the soil, from the soil, free range in a sense, or moved in different paddocks.
Yeah. So the whole thing's a free range concept.
Okay.
They're not even finished out in a feedlot. These are grass cattle, and then they get into smaller and smaller fields as we get closer. So we're not gathering them and stressing them and working them too much. And then it's all natural grasses on the hills, rolling hills. They can get up, let a cow be a cow. If it's hot, they can get up and get out on a breeze. And then as we get closer to finish, we feed this Sudan grass, this grass hay. And the grass hay is actually grown with the recycled wastewater from one of the carrot plants. So we've made this like sustainable model to where we can take these billion-dollar ag companies and then recycle their food waste, their water waste, and make this upcycled white tablecloth premium protein that's very healthy. You feel good after you eat it. You don't feel like you need a nap. It's not dragging you down. It's got all amazing B vitamins in it. And so we've been able to kind of model that.
And you showed me a list of the vitamins in the carrot-fed beef. I mean, it's 80% or greater in some cases of the minimal daily allowance.
Yes, it's crazy. So all the vitamins you're going to get from your carrots, you can get into your beef. We have moms that are like, man, my kids won't eat carrots, but they'll eat your ground beef. Wonderful, right? Like we can, it's a good thing. Kids should be eating burgers. The kids should be eating steaks, you know? So we get to offer this protein and get all these carrot vitamins in it as well.
What are you seeing happening in the world today when it comes to meat? I know as I grew up, we had some meat, not a lot of meat, a lot of plant food, fruits and vegetables, cereal, salad, things like that. And I know I've been in the carnivore world for nearly 15 years, and it seems to be really growing. Are you seeing sort of the mindset of the consumer change a little bit?
I am. It's funny because we're in and out of it, you know, like we're sports parents, we're driving everywhere and you got to feed your kids, whatever. And then we're in the carnivore world. But man, like I've met just a couple dads from my sports, my kids doing sports that are like, yeah, I've done carnivore. One of my buddies, he said he had psoriasis and he literally cured his psoriasis with a carnivore diet. It's a crazy concept. So I think there's a lot of unlearning we have to do. You know, growing up, you had to have at least one starch with every meal.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why? We should just unlearn that. But it's something that's been implanted, embedded in us. You know, the food pyramid that was a total scam joke. Like, we taught that in school. Like, we did that right next to the Pledge of Allegiance. That's crazy that we had the food pyramid right next to the flag doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So I think the carnivore, the more testimonies that are out there, the better. God bless social media. God bless what you're doing. Because the more people actually hear that red meat is good for you, that it's nutrition, that's what the good Lord intended for us to eat, the better.
We're hunters, not grazers.
Correct.
And really, in a modern world, we've been convinced that grazing is healthy, but we're all getting sicker. The cost of healthcare is going up. Everything's getting more costly, and there's got to be something wrong with it. Ranching has been around for and pastoral caring for the domesticated animals been around a lot longer than agriculture.
It's for a long time. You go back in the Bible where Jacob was literally like selective breeding, where he was taking different animals and setting up branches around the water troughs to where certain animals could get to it, and then they would breed in different areas. So it's been around forever. And then the American ranching, the American West, I mean, I think that's an iconic staple of who we are here in the U.S. And it's good. You know, for so long it was, minimal red meat. You know, that's just have it splurge on holidays or, you know, only have one burger patty in your burger. And now the more we're learning, it's like, no, the bread's bad. Right. It's the beef that's good. You can eat as much of that stuff as you want and feel better about it.
Tell us a little bit about regenerative agriculture and practices of maintaining our future in our healthy beef.
So I love this concept, and I think it's different for everyone. So the different climates, you know, different strokes for different folks. Guys that really are dependent on the grass, they don't have like a carrot concept like we do. They really need to take care of those soils. And we do too. We have a ranch right next to, actually we lease a ranch from the Nature Conservancy, and it's contiguous with some of ours. And we get a lot of soil samples. We're going into, okay, let's graze it to where it's not going to burn too much, but then let's not overgraze it because we have to have something to come back to in the fall. Also, for us, you know, with the regenerative is we use up to 1 million pounds a day of food waste. We use grass hay that's grown with recycled wastewater. And so we also use garlic peels. So we actually work with a garlic company, and when they peel garlic, we'll take the peels and we'll spread it out in the field, and cows will roll in it and they'll nibble on it a little bit, and it's a natural pest repellent. So instead
Interesting.
So we're using a food waste concept. I do believe that the regenerative movement has really grabbed another gear from what sustainability was, because sustainability for so long, people would say, well, I'm a 7th generation rancher, I'm still around. Profitability is sustainability. Well, then we're taking it to the next level of, okay, what else can we do? Let's not let good enough be good enough. And I think regenerative is that next gear where we're going to get up and go. We're going to make sure the soils aren't just sustained. The soils are better than when we found it. And I think that we should all leave the world a better place than we found it, including the ground that actually feeds our nation and our family.
I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to medical school in Davis, and I would take Highway 5 up and down all the time, and it passed the large feedlots at Coalinga, I think it is, Harris Ranch and things like that. Is that a different ranching, different way of raising cattle than what you're doing?
The feedlots are, and I think it's. I mean, there's a place for everything, and I'm not going to knock feedlot beef. I never will. I think that because red meat is so healthy, guys like that, you know, even in the Midwest, Harris Ranch, they can efficiently get red meat to the supermarket or to the table enough where it's affordable for, you know, an average family on a medium income to eat, because we don't want to price it out of there. Our beef is a little bit different. It takes longer to feed because the carrots, it's a slower gain. So we need a little bit more of a premium price. But the guys that can make red meat, you know, a choice ribeye, affordable for a family, God bless them, because I would rather them be doing that than anything else.
Yeah, I always tell people any beef is better than any plant. And so wherever you can get it, eat it and focus on the fat, and you'll be healthier than you've ever known.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My wife loves spinach. Spinach doesn't love my wife. Man, so I got a buddy who's a chiropractor and great guy. And he's got a practice in Ojai, and then he had one up in Kernville, where the Kern River is we're talking about.
Yeah.
So where we were, he would drive by our neighborhood on the way. And so we would trade chiropractic for meat. So I'd load him up with a box of beef. He'd adjust my family. It was great for my daughter. She has cerebral palsy, and so we'd always try to keep her adjusted. And my wife had a spinach salad one time, and then he's like, "Man, what did you just eat? Like, you're tight. I can totally feel it." And she's like, "Spinach?" He goes, "That's it. Spinach isn't for everyone, and it's almost like bad for you. You know, some of these things the cows were supposed to eat, so we can eat the cow, not the other way around. You know, it's like all the seed oils. Well, the cows were supposed to eat that stuff and then digest it. They got 4 rumens. They've got a liver that can filter all this. Instead, we start playing God and mechanically try to make these oils out of grains when we could have just made tallow like our ancestors did in the first place. These animals are here for us for a reason.
Yeah, how did we get into this mess anyway? What things can we do to help parents and their children realize that beef meat is healthy for them? What things are you doing to sort of spread the word and share the fact that meat is really the master meal?
I think we don't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. It's not going to happen overnight. If you could try, and some people it works great. And there is an unlearning process, but the more we talk about the long-term damages of what we're eating, what we're putting into our body, whether it's medicines that are unnecessary, sodas, like, is it really necessary for people to drink soda? No. So that's going to have a long-term effect on it. There's fake sugars, there's high fructose corn syrup. So we could peel that out of our diet, or at least a little bit. And then the more we're talking about what is healthy, what isn't, we can say, oh, well, we don't have to have a starch at dinner. It's unnecessary. Or instead of having a steak salad, let's have a lot of steak and a little bit of salad. It's the same thing. And so I feel like the more that we can continue the conversation in our everyday life, just around our everyday people, the better.
Would you say that grass fed and grass finished is healthier than the grain finished or carrot finished?
Well, there's going to be a lot of people say that, it's got to be grass-fed, grass-finished. We know a lot of people that say they can't eat a grain-finished because of their diet. I don't think it's my place in the world to say. I can say that our beef, you feel really good on it, and it tastes amazing. It's a great eating experience. I'm not going to put other ranchers down because I think we're all in it to produce great beef.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't know a difference other than I like the fattier cuts, and generally they're going to be in the grain finished. But it sounds like you're finishing with the carrots on the grass essentially. They're not put in a paddock and force fed for days or weeks. They're really fed out there, and they have some choice also. But they love the carrots.
They love the carrots, and actually, so we free choice them. So there's daily fresh deliveries of carrots, and then we have grass hay in another part of the field. and their bodies will tell them what they want. They'll eat carrots, and then cattle are ruminant animals, so they have to have some kind of grass to chew on, so they can, chew their cuds. They'll regurgitate it. So carrots, grass, we put a lot of salt out. We go through a lot of salt, and that's what they lick it on their own, like a salt lick. We use a mineral tub that's sorghum based, not corn based, and their bodies will tell them what they want and what they need, instead of some nutritionist mixing up a diet and that's all they have to offer. So when they want the carrots, they go to the carrots. When their body's telling them they need the grass, they go over and eat grass, and it's worked great for us. And we do grade, choice and prime. Even with that diet, we can be verified grass-fed, and we can add a lot of the fat to it. And if you've noticed, our fat, the viscosity of it's very light. It's not like a heavier corn-fed fat. Mm-hmm. You can eat a lot of it, and it's like marshmallow because all that extra moisture in it. Fat's good for us. Fat is fuel.
Yeah, I always say the one thing we've faulted on is eating lean and forgetting that the fat is really the critical part of our nutrition. And beef naturally comes with fat, and we've cut it away, or we've raised cattle to be leaner, and that's been part of the problem.
Yeah, and I think that the cultural flow has taught us to eat leaner meat too. A lot of people will dissect the fat off their plate, buy a 16-ounce ribeye and leave half of it on the plate, when some of those fat parts aren't even chewy at all. They'll melt in your mouth.
Yeah. And I've seen many carnivores that they cut the fat away, they eat the leaner meat, and I think that's one of our biggest downfalls. You have to focus on eating the fat. That's what a real carnivore is, because it has the most nutrients, it's the most anti-inflammatory, and it's the most satiating. And so eat the fatty meat.
That's why we offer a 70-30 blend for our ground beef. If you can't get past the fat, we've already taken a lot of that animal. We'll blend short rib meat with it, a lot of fattier products, brisket. And so you can get that fat in your burger or your taco meat or however you want to do it. I mean, my wife and I will just make a bowl of this ground beef and put an avocado on it and rock and roll.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so you can get some of that fat in your burger and not have to look at it. And, we do offer that.
Tell us a little bit about the smaller rancher, the producers that are out there that are raising the animals, and what's happening to them in America compared to the larger industrial ranches or farms that seem to be growing?
We've seen a lot of them go away. Anybody, just for starters, anyone who's actually trying to sell their own beef, please support them, because it is so hard. I try to describe the vertical integration into, it's like trying to get on a 80-mile-an-hour freeway on a bicycle. It's really tough to jump into. So anyone, whether it's a farmer's market or ordering, the best thing we can do is support them. But they've had a rough go. We saw when I was a kid, there was a lot of smaller independent packers, beef packers. And then you had the big guys come in. JBS came in and started gobbling them up. Like a lot of these there's 4 big ones, as you know, and they've consolidated a lot. And it's very corporate, and it's been hard. When money's expensive, a lot of farmers are just leveraged. The banks want the land, and they are literally borrowing money just to stay in the business and borrowing against, 5th, 6th, 7th generation land. It's really tough on them. And we see them go away, and then there's a consolidation. The guys, their neighbor might buy them. So their neighbor got bigger, they went out. And so as we're losing some of the smaller ranches, and I hope that doesn't go away. I think that the spirit of the American West will keep it alive. And we see the pendulum swinging now to where even in the market, the guys who produce the cows and calves, they are making more money than the packers right now. And it's so good. But it's not good that it happens at the cost of our national herd is as low as it's been in 70 years.
Wow.
So yes, they're getting more money for their calves than they've ever got, but we're staring down the barrel of a gun we've never stared down before.
Why is the herd so low?
Well, we've had drought, and then now we have these guys can sell a heifer to go into the meat string, for $1,800, where, before they might keep more heifers, retention, and breed them to resupply. But when they're getting more money than they've ever got, they're going to sell their females too, and that's their brood stock. So that's going to, I think, give it a couple more years, and the heifers are going to get so high that people are going to start retaining them to replenish.
Right.
And we'll go from there. Something that's been actually plugging the hole is this beef on dairy concept. And part of me wants to not like it, but I like it because it is helping with the national herd. I think about, 15, 18% of the cattle on feed are beef on dairy concepts, where they're taking.
What is a beef on dairy concept?
So it's the dairies. Cow has the same gestation as a human, 9.5 months, 40 weeks. And the dairy cows have to have a calf every year. So they can keep making milk. Well, they've got into where they're taking really good Angus genetics and taking Angus semen and breeding the dairy cows with it. So you get a half Angus, half Holstein, or they're doing complete, IVF in them, and the dairy cows will carry the eggs. And that is making these like great cookie cutter cattle. They're using them a lot for exports, but they're pumping out, these calves. The Holsteins can take grain for a longer period of time, and the Angus genetics make it marble. And it's actually filling the hole right now for the shortage in the herd.
When it comes to what the consumer can do, those listening that want to focus on feeding their family, themselves more meat, what can the consumer do?
Feed the family more meat.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's whether it's the grocery store or when you go out to eat, that's what helps. I think just look at what you're feeding them. Ground beef's not bad. You don't always have to have a ribeye. I think red meat is good, and look for offcuts. You can get a chuck roll and make a pot roast with it, and it'll go a long way. If there's bones, you can make your own bone broth. My mom still to this day saves all of her chicken bones. And if we have ribs, she'll boil like beef ribs down and make a bone broth with it. She's like, why would I pay for it when I can make it myself?
Is beef likely the most nutrient dense meal you can eat? And really there's little to no waste when you eat meat?
I think so. I think, our ancestors ate a lot of the organ meats too. And I think that's important. It's hard that's kind of an unlearning process, but we're seeing it more and more in supplements. We're seeing, there's like liver snacks, liver jerky out there where we're really trying to get back into this. Ancestral blend from ground beef. Like I mentioned, we have a 70-30. So we're going to use a lot more of the animal that might have went to diesel fuel. The renewable fuels, one of their main ingredients is beef tallow. So like they're making diesel with tallow, and they're frying foods with
oils, industrial oils to fry the foods, and the healthy fats to create energy for our lifestyle.
These are the unlearning things that I was talking about. I don't think too many people know that the renewable green fuel is sourcing tallow out there, when we should be using the vegetable oils for the diesel and cooking our foods with the tallow.
Hey, if you're eating animal-based, you know how hard it is to find something real when you're on the go. That's why I like the Carnivore Bar. It's made with just meat, fat, salt, and sometimes a little honey. No seed oils, no sugar, no preservatives. It's shelf-stable, travel-ready, and packs 400 calories of real nourishment. Think of it like modern-day pemmican, a survival food, reimagined with high-quality, regeneratively raised beef. Whether you're flying, hiking, road tripping, or just busy between meals, this bar helps you stay fueled until your next steak. It's simple, it's real, and it actually supports how humans are meant to eat. Meat, my food.
There's been a lot of talk about cattle are depleting the ozone. They're contributing to CO2 levels. What's your story on that?
I don't care. It's all fake. It's fake news. We have to unlearn that. Cows, it's not even so much the farts that they're blaming. It's like, oh, they regurgitate, they burp. No, I mean, your car does worse. If a volcano erupts, it does thousands and thousands of times what these cows would ever do. I don't believe any of that for a second. They've been trying to tackle, I say they, but the mainstream concept has been going after all of the wrong things for so long. I don't know who to point the finger at. I think climate change is just a big fat hoax. The fact that they're coming after cattle ranchers and beef producers is absolutely horrible. I don't think it cleans up in a second. Do you remember after COVID, like when all the airlines kind of like shut down and the skies were immediately clear? It just takes seconds, and it's not that bad. Maybe they should stop doing the chemtrails. And they want to blame the cows? No, I don't buy it for a second.
Ultimately, the cows and or herbivores have roamed this earth, this country, for thousands, if not more. They're healthy for the environment, for our grasslands. Tell us a little bit about the soil and other natural products, nature, bugs and birds and other animals that are critical to our environment. And how regenerative farming, ranching, and how important the herbivores and the cattle are to our environment.
Well, I think that so there's a rancher that was nearby. Actually, we used to work on this ranch, and there was an endangered flower that they found, and they wanted him to stop grazing around where they found this flower, and they fought it. And this whole thing went to court, and he actually beat the environmental groups that shut it off. And then they tried to plant it somewhere else, and it died. So the cattle were actually eating the grasses that would have naturally choked this protected plant out, and the cattle saved it. I think that the cattle have been roaming the earth forever. We had buffalo before, we have deer, and now cattle. This is a natural, like, nature will balance itself, and they are supposed to be doing it. I mean, we spread, they move seeds around as they travel, they go to water. So they're eating a lot of grasses, and then they're actually spreading it better than a weed spreader, or, like a seed spreader would. This is something that naturally occurs, and cattle will keep the weeds down. And otherwise, what we see also, especially out in California, is the fires. Like, that's something we should talk about. If we're not grazing it, then the fires take off a lot worse. When there is, 2 feet of grass out there, it's just going to rip. Somebody's going to get hurt trying to fight it. But if it's grazed off, cattle are making little trails going back and forth to water. It slows the fire down. It'll naturally kind of help itself. But cattle are one of the best preventatives for the wildfires that we see.
And they'll likely help our environment, our soils, providing the fertilizer, and if plants, they need to be chewed by the herbivores, their seeds are dispersed that way also. And this is an important thing for our future generations.
Absolutely. So these cattle are, they're doing weed abatement. They are keeping the fire hazard to a minimum, and then they're replenishing the earth with their manure. So
now the Central Valley has changed over the years tremendously in California. And housing is certainly grown there, and industry, and I know the warehouses are huge that are growing there. How's that affecting the grazing lands for cattle out there?
Well, just like anywhere, the housing's coming. COVID really flooded the Bakersfield and the Central Valley with people because it was more affordable to live. So they would come from the Bay Area, from Los Angeles, and come in. And the housing, it boomed. Yeah. Like, it's been booming for the last couple years. It's and so they are taking out a lot of the farmland and the flats. I mean, you've driven through there, so all that stuff coming off the 99 or the 5, the Grapevine. I think one day you're going to have houses from Bakersfield all the way to the base of the Grapevine. It's inevitable, and it's that close to Los Angeles. Los Angeles, with kind of a mass exodus leaving, it will take out some of the farmland, and we're just gonna. But I do have hope and faith for these farmers because it's a culture that doesn't let good enough be good enough, and we're always striving. You know, our biggest competitor is ourselves yesterday, and so we're fighting to get better yields using soils we wouldn't have used to use. You know, they're farming out in the desert, that land that wasn't farmable before. So we're moving into it, learning new practices, using new fertilizers, and so I think we'll overcome that. There's just a human. People have been migrating since the beginning of time, and I think that it's a natural thing. We're just going to have to overcome and outsmart it, and I have faith in humanity to do that.
How do we inspire our young people to look at farming and ranching as a way of living?
I think we just need to keep telling our story.
Yeah.
I think the best thing we can do anywhere, and even for us as kind of this out-of-the-box concept, is keep telling our story. The more we do, either you're going to fall in love with it, or God wanted you to be an engineer or a doctor or something else. But if that's something they want to get into, they need to know what it's like. There's hard days too. Cows got to eat on Christmas, so there's no days off. It's a thing. If a water line breaks in the middle of the night, you have to fix it. Cows have to drink. There is no days off in it, and it's really hard work, but it's very rewarded. You know, the carnivore movement, you want to talk about feeling rewarded when you meet people. When we were at Wyoming last year for that roundup, listening to people talk that say red meat saved their life.
Yeah.
Man, this is like, we have hard days and hard nights, but it keeps us going. It's a real thing, and I am just so encouraged by it. Knowing that we can make a difference in someone's health, their lifestyle, possibly save them. You know, that knowing now, I learned a lot about like histamine sensitivity, and our meat can help that because of how we pack them. They don't have to hang and for 2 or 3 weeks because we use a bigger processing facility. Wow, like we have this in our hands. Keep charging forward.
Miracle stories. And that's, I know for myself, where I suffered arthritis, psoriasis, migraines, depression, kidney stones for years. I couldn't read as a child, which I attribute to a plant-centric, low meat-based diet for years. And by the grace of God, here I am. I think meat is medicinal and magical. And if you read the book by Schlenk, Eat Meat 3 Times a Day, we need to be meat-centered in our diets to heal humanity. Our healthy brothers and sisters are showing up by going carnivore. Keto's good, but carnivore is like the game changer. And isn't it quite amazing? You're utilizing carrots to enhance the vitamin content, change the color a little bit, but I think we're going to start looking at that as a healthy meat and wondering, hey, why aren't others doing this? And maybe you could comment a little bit about, are others looking at carrots, or are there other vegetables like carrots that you think might have some benefits also?
You can do potatoes, actually, and it's a starch finish. There's some guys in Canada, I've heard of doing some potatoes on them. I don't think the flavor is going to be as good as the carrots, but this is something we should look at, especially, with the trade wars going on, and, China's a big buyer of our corn and our grains, and that's such a big part of the cattle diet. I think we should look at alternatives of it. I don't like food waste at all. So, if we make a steak one night, it's fajitas the next,
Yeah.
There's no food waste at all. And cattle are the best recyclers of a lot of these vegetables. There's a guy in the Tulare area that's using some oranges, some citrus, but he finishes them on grains. And so I've had a few conversations with him, and I'm encouraging him, like, hey, have we looked at drying it, making some citrus peel? Let's pull some grain out of it. See, do you want to scale this? It is scary for a lot of people to try to scale into the beef world and go all in, because it's too easy to go broke. I mean, for every out of 100, 99 will go broke trying it. And we might not be around forever, but the people that we're helping, healing, and supplying nutritious beef to, that's what is encouraging, keeps us going.
The idea that people should start looking at local and regenerative but we can buy from anywhere today because of the ability to process, freeze, and ship has really changed the world. And you said that you ship from Dallas area versus California because the shipping and the time frame to get to everywhere in America is more efficient and delivers a better product.
Yeah, so we ship out of Texas. It's actually Round Rock, just north of Austin. I'm in the Dallas area because I have a daughter with cerebral palsy, and we're going back and forth there for a while, and from California to the Dallas area, and getting really great treatment. And so we finally just prayed about it, went home, put a for sale sign in the yard, and 10 days our house was in escrow, packed it up, moved out. And so 3 weeks ago, she took her first independent steps on crutches.
Oh my gosh.
She walked across the stage in her walker. She got out of her wheelchair, got in her walker, and got her kindergarten diploma, for kindergarten. So it's been amazing progress for that. But we ship out of the Texas area because we've tried to ship from California to New York before, and it takes all week. Even if you ship on a Monday, and it could get hung up at the distribution center over the weekend or left on a front porch, you're ended up with bad meat, melted, a bad Yelp review. It's an accident looking for a place to happen. And for us, we honor the animal. Yeah. I hate to see meat go to waste, not just because you're wasting anything. Like, that animal gave its life for us to have nutrition, and we truly believe that. We want to give them the best quality of life on this earth, and then we honor them afterwards, and we try to eat, nose to tail, nothing goes to waste, and make sure that it all goes to the best place, because those cows are doing something so amazing for us and humanity.
Children and meat, and your children maybe specifically, but are you seeing their love of meat grow? Do you think it's the thing that they're drawn to more so than eating the carrots alone?
My kids love it. So my oldest he's gone on a few sales meetings and stuff with me. He loves barbecue. It's a thing. And then now we're in Texas for a little bit. I'm not saying he's a barbecue snob, but he's a barbecue critic, which is fun because we go to some good ones and we meet the owners of some barbecue places. My youngest son, he loves to cook a steak on a cast iron. That is his thing. He gets the butter and the rosemary out. And I don't know about other kids. My kids are around it so much. And I mean, they get horseback, they work cows, they appreciate the entire process. And so their friends don't really have a choice when they come to our house, because whatever we couldn't sell is what we're eating. It's a thing, and a lot of burger. Ground beef is such a staple in our house. Yeah. We go through so much of it, and it's good. So my daughter, we're really working on her muscle tone and getting her legs moving, and our goal is to get her independently walking. Kids can get picky, and there's a lot of sugar alternatives out there that just make it hard to get more red meat in their diet. But she will sit and eat an entire bowl of our ground beef. She loves it. We used to order her rice and beans, when we go to Mexican food. And I started, hey, let's get a side of ground beef in there. Now she will just order more ground beef. We can just give her ground beef, and that's what she loves. But she doesn't know it. I think there's something in our body that craves it. There's something in our body that craves fatty red meat. And we've been educated to psychologically not want that. But I don't feel full unless there's red meat in my meal, in my diet.
If you think about it, we're creating fake meat that people that don't eat meat want to eat because the brain wants them to eat meat. So we've created a fake environment that essentially fakes people out. And I think it domesticates us and keeps us in an addictive world, an addictive mindset. And so by eating meat, and once we take away the psychological component and give just a little bit of a taste, it's like our brain goes yeah, this is what we're supposed to eat.
I saw a study that said 1 out of 3 vegetarians will eat meat when they get drunk. I'm yeah, if that's your sin, it's not. I think your body literally does crave red meat. There's been some great propaganda against it. And I don't, it's sad, but I want to talk about the positives. I think that we can get, vertically integrated farms and ranches, their beef to the market now. I think that these conversations like this are getting more and more. You don't see a lot of ex-carnivores going vegan, but we're seeing a lot of vegans coming to the carnivore side. And that's a big unlearning process, but welcome, we're here to help. No, there's no judgment, and we want to encourage everyone we can to try this. And there are new alternatives like ours out there, and there's not one is better. I think everyone just needs to listen to their body and what their body's telling them. And when you try red meat, man, you're gonna love it.
And there's no requirement to eat a plant, and that's really the game changer. I think for plant eaters, there is a requirement to eat meat. When you give up the plant, you suddenly, all the diseases, the brain fog, the depression, the inferiority feelings, just goes away. Yeah. And that's the beauty. But we rely on our ranchers, those that are caring for the land, the grass, the animals, and maintaining that mission. That's such an important thing that we have to honor, because 99% of us are not raising our own livestock, nor are we growing our own food. We're reliant on the passion of and the compassion to the animal of those that are in this world doing what you're doing. What keeps you in it?
I fell in love with it a long time ago. Just growing up, driving around in the seat of my grandpa's pickup, excuse me, learning to care for the animal, whether it's baby calves we had to bottle feed, just being out in nature. And then what we're doing now with Santa Carota and these carrot finished cows, and how we see that it helps people and how it's healing people, and that we can put more nutrition than regular beef into it. That's what really keeps us going. God put this calling on our heart. We're chasing a God-sized dream, and we're going to follow it till the ends of the earth. But knowing that we help people along the way is absolutely incredible. I have letters from moms that say my kid was sick. He has special needs, or there's something with him, and I couldn't get any weight on him. He wouldn't eat anything, but then we found your meat, and man, you've saved my kid's life. Wow. Things like that will keep you going. And now that we are in communication with, you, Dr. Kiltz, and some of this other carnivore movement, and then hearing some of these testimonies of people that were on their deathbed, looking death in the face, knowing that we have an answer and a cure and a medicine for that, for them to say, your meat makes me feel better, and I have been, less than 100 pounds. People saying they were like 60 some pounds before they got on carnivore diet. We're going to go to the ends of the earth for this. Yeah. We will fight till the absolutely very end. And we've had a lot of challenges. We've had some of the crazy Wild West stories come at us. We've had cartels show up, and we had a cartel show up and start growing, setting up greenhouses to grow illegal pot on another side of the fence. And whoa. they wouldn't, couldn't get the sheriffs out there, couldn't get the DEA out there, but the local police department had to, they had their pistol range eminent domain. So we let them come out and shoot and set them up a shooting range on our side of the fence. So all the cop cars showed up. Well, the SWAT team set up long range shooting, and enough cops show up, start banging away. The cartels packed up their greenhouse and left. We've had train robbers out there because the train tracks come by us. It's an everyday fight for what we do, and it's a Wild West out there. But no matter what, we're going to keep coming at it, and we're going to keep supplying the best beef we can, because we know we're helping and healing people.
I don't know if you could share the meat mixing with your product and a lesser product. That there are some issues out there about the quality of all meat.
Yes.
Maybe you could just comment about how important is the quality and consistency of Santa Carota beef.
they say you don't want to see laws and sausages get made. And I think sometimes that umbrella covers meat. I think plenty of times there's been issues where, you know, if someone wanted 200 pounds, or if someone wanted 300 pounds of meat for steaks for a wedding, they might buy 200 of ours, but it's all passed off as, you know, Santa Carota, all 300. We've seen it happen on larger scales with ground beef where, you know, some of our other product might get mixed with ours, but all passed off as it. And so we've actually kind of slowed and backed off some of our food service and leaned into the nutrition side. So we are right now very focused on our direct-to-consumer model. You know, we've been burned in the past on the big corporate meat side. And I think that taking care of our customers, our fans, our supporters, we're going to go direct to them now. And we may not make as much money, but we know we're in it for the right reasons. And then the availability of our beef to those who absolutely love it and need it, that is more important to us.
Santa Carota Beef, which is at santacarotabeef.com, on Instagram at Santa Carota Beef, and on Facebook at Santa Carota Beef. And those are the places that everyone and anyone can go to and review your website, review your farming methods, the care of the cows, and they can also purchase high quality, healthy meat from you.
Yes. So santacarota.com, SantaCarota.com. My phone number's on there. My email's on there. I love answering questions. From a steakhouse to someone curious about their health, I will do my absolute very best to tell you, and we're very transparent. I love having the conversations. I think everyone wants to buy their meat from the guy in the cowboy hat, and this is the opportunity to do that. And then for us to be able to explain our process and be as transparent as possible about what we're doing, that's very important. You know, if you're worried about if your meat comes from like a big packer or it's a corporate one, because there's some great marketing out there that'll show the corporate, you know, that corporate side can make it look like some family ranch. But check out their social media. See if they're posting about it every single day. Or if you're seeing the practices, or if it's just some label. But ours, we're so out of the box and so different, but we really believe in what we're doing that we want to show the world, and we want to answer every question we can.
Can we also get some organ meats from your site?
Not on the website yet. That's something we're working on. But very soon, coming soon.
And what about mixing, getting some burger mix with some organ meats? Will that be coming?
That's coming on the menu. Right now, like I said, we're at a shift where we're pulling away from food service, and we're going to lean into our customers that need it on the health side and really try to do better in the world, you know? Never give up on that, and don't let good enough be good enough. So our goal is to bring organ meats, new cuts, some more inexpensive cuts to it, so we can bring our quality beef to everyone.
What question haven't I asked?
I think your customers are going to want to know about vaccinations. We get that a lot. Where I can tell you most ranchers, they'll vaccinate for blackleg at about a month old, you know, when you brand. That is something that comes from the soil, and blackleg is horrible to see. Other than that, we don't vaccinate for anything. There's no hormones. We don't use antibiotics. It's an antibiotic-free program. We don't implant for hormones. So it does take longer to finish the animal. Where, you know, the feedlots might be harvesting 17, 18 months. We're going to be in that 24 months of age range because they grow slower on carrots. And they're moving around a lot in the hills. But it's a good thing, you know, because all of that extra carrot water and the smoothie of the carrot essentially gets into the muscle. We use ivermectin, pour on ivermectin for like pest control. Turns out ivermectin's good for all of us, so it's a good thing, you know. Do you take ivermectin?
I do.
Not
don't?
Yet. Not yet. Never had to. Huh? It's because you're a carnivore and you're not sick.
That's
ever.
what I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had that C disease, either of them, the virus or the the ending one.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there any, if you feel like there's anything you missed?
Well, maybe tell us a little about why do they use steroids, hormones, and antibiotics and vaccines, and why don't you?
So we don't, because we don't feel, well, one, we don't need the antibiotics as much because they're healthy. Our cattle's naturally social distance because it's a free range concept. The hormones is kind of a bigger, stronger, faster, that more efficient thing, because the longer they're on feed, the more it costs. So if they're on grain every single day and that grain's expensive, then, every day the costs are adding up. So how do you cheaply get it to the grocery store so it's affordable for a family? Well, you can put a hormone implant in there so they essentially stop growing up and they grow out, gets them there faster. We don't do that. We're a natural beef. Antibiotics for years were fed in the corn or in the grain because it'll really raise like the pH in their gut. And you see a lot of liver abscesses and makes an E. coli factory. So the antibiotics would lower that. Enough people made enough noise to where feedlots aren't feeding antibiotics anymore, and it has to be prescribed by a vet to do so. And then there's injectable antibiotics if something's sick. We will do that as a last resort. If it comes down to the cow's life, and then we'll just pull it out. We'll get it healthy, pull it out of the meat string, and sell it at an auction. It's not part of that because we want to make sure that people know what they're getting with us and that it's antibiotic free. We said hormones, antibiotics, and what was that? And vaccines. That, man, the feedlots want a great vaccine program. So cattle ranchers will market their vaccine program to the feedlots because it's like an airport. That's where all the germs are, and they're closer together. We have so much vitamins in the carrots that our cows are just healthy. Healthier cow makes healthier beef, and it's healthier food.
And they're not as crowded, as you said, and overfed in a short amount of time. Probably has a factor in all that also.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
they have a great life.
Yeah,
I mean, you see what happens when you give a dog a treat or a horse a carrot. Man, these cows get carrots every day. It's like candy for them.
Now, I'm lucky and blessed, and I've already gotten some Santa Carota beef delivered personally from Justin today, so that's really awesome. And maybe we'll get a chance to go cook that up and have some.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
I'm excited about this.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Let's see. Any other questions that I'm missing here?
So how did you feel about it when you ate it? I think we shipped you some before.
Yeah. It was delicious. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. I mean, it's tasty. I love the taste. I love the fat. I always add a little bit of salt and a little bit of butter. That always is the best on beef. And I'm primarily a beef eater. I don't typically eat chicken, fish, or turkey. Ate some oysters and occasionally some lobster occasionally, but it's usually with a steak with a lot of butter on it, which is ultimately the very best.
I was going to ask you, how do you carnivore with all this great seafood around here?
Well, seafood stinks, and chicken is shit. Now, no disrespect to chicken or fish, but ultimately, the beef from the cow comes with all the minerals, vitamins, fat within the muscle. But most fish, when you cook it in a pan, you cook beef and fish, there's no fat that wells up in fish or chicken or turkey, but it's in the beef. And the fat is the most important thing to eat. And the fish are swimming in the waters of the world that we are pissing and pooping, both human waste and industrial waste. And so no matter what, the waters of the world are contaminated. And I think that the soils are a natural way of detoxifying the waters, and then the plants essentially are the least toxic thing that the beef eats. Where it may be that the plants that some of those fish eat is also not as toxic, but the water is, and that's why I stay away from it.
Okay. It's a great answer.
Simple answer.
So we were touring one of our distributors, great guys, down in Southern California, and my wife was pregnant. And she'd already been there, and we went into the chicken room. And, when women are pregnant, their sniffer works. Whew, amazing. She took 2 steps into the chicken processing room. I turned and said, I can't do this. I can't. There's a certain smell to it, and she couldn't get around it.
I mean, I'll do some free range chicken, roasters, but you got to eat the whole thing with the skin, the organ meats, and the fat. But again, intramuscular fat doesn't exist in those animals, but it does exist in beef. And I will tell you, if you're not feeling the benefits of a carnivore animal-based diet, go to fatty meat, and you got to go Santa Carota beef. And I'm telling you, you got it. It's so amazing. And you deserve health and wellness and amazing. I do have one other question. Faith.
Oh, love this.
And tell me a little bit about how faith has given you a direction and a purpose in life.
I think my faith is my direction and purpose in life. I think that we should all ask God, what is our purpose here? Because if we're not pursuing what God's purpose for us, what are we doing? Just walking in circles. We're a very faith-based family. We have, God's taken us on some amazing journeys.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here in Florida with you, and we're talking about it. We've built a pediatric therapy center for kids with special needs along the way. We started a foundation for kids with special needs.
Wow.
I've packed my family up and moved to Texas because I prayed about it, and that's where God took me. Now I have an easy airport to access to come talk to you about red meat. We've had constant adversity in this meat challenge, making Santa Carota beef, but God's been there with us along the way. And I now have a microphone in front of me to tell everyone that we should be asking God what our purpose is and chasing it, and because we're going to do it to the ends of the earth. God's got me out of more pickles than I could get myself in. And he watched his son get tortured for me and for all my screw-ups, and I get 1,000,000 second chances. And I get to go on great adventures that God will take me on. It's a wild goose chase. And the people I've met along the way and being able to share our faith, I think radical Christianity in a positive way is coming back strong, just like the carnivore thing. Like, this isn't who you voted for. This is like, who made you and what did he make you to do? What is your purpose? I never thought in 1,000,000 years that feeding carrots to cows, which I grew up doing, would end up like helping people and saving people. And I never thought in 1,000,000 years that I would be helping kids with special needs all over the country and the world. But that's God's purpose for us. And as long as I know that that's the direction, we serve an undefeated God. Mm-hmm. And nobody ever had it easy. And I don't think God, I'm not a perfect person, but God doesn't, he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And he gives us strength right at the last second. To take on thousands with a jawbone of a donkey or, part the Red Sea, whatever it is, like, it's the same God from those amazing stories in the Bible is the same God that has put you and I together to heal people and help people.
And we're all suffering, and we all need strength. And ultimately, God is the power that gives us all strength. And whether you're Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, or you're some other ancient spiritual belief, it's within all of us. And for me, the words of Jesus Christ as a philosopher king for all of us are the most powerful. And I read this on Instagram. Focus on Jesus, not the storm, not the struggle, not the pain, not the worry, not the stress, not the past, not the world, not the destruction, the distraction. Focus on Jesus. And the words are the most powerful thing we can do every day. And you've done many hard, challenging things, and you keep a passionate purpose. And the Moses cloud
I'm following it.
We're
the
following
pillar of
it.
fire.
Yeah.
We're following it. It's brought us on some great journeys. And And whenever your pride gets in the way, God will bring you to your knees. And it's a good thing. It's like your kids when they get a little too far out there and you got to reel them back in. God will reel you back in with a hardship to bring you back to your knees. And there's an attitude of gratitude we need to have even in the storm.
He didn't promise us easy.
No, look at all the disciples.
Yeah.
Well, like 11 of the 12 were killed, tortured, murdered, crucified, stoned to death. Like being a Christian is hard. And we call ourselves outlaw Christians, during COVID, California was tough, man. They shut things down. There's a great chef we work with named Andrew Gruel that did a burger. I saw him on the news, and he's like, and I'd never heard of this guy, and he's until he was doing like this, I'm not an asshole, my governor is. And I was like, I like this guy. Then I saw he was doing a burger at his restaurants for restaurant workers, and anybody who bought the burger, all the proceeds would go to help this foundation he started to help the restaurant workers.
Yeah.
So I saw that he was working with West Coast Prime Meats, which is a great distributor of ours. Love them. And so I immediately reached out to them and said, look, we have all these products not moving. All these restaurants are down. Can we be the burger supplier? Absolutely. So we supplied the raw material to help them. And then God just started working on my heart. And I was going to the cold storage in Bakersfield. So you know what? To hell with this. And I loaded up I loaded up the back seat of my pickup with a bunch of our meat. And I was going around to all the restaurants that were open under protest of COVID. And I would donate them a box of meat. And some of them were like in tears. Some of them were like, it was almost Christmas. And because, Newsom did a second shutdown. Some of them were like, and friends of ours said, if I shut my restaurant down like they want me to, my employees won't get a last paycheck before Christmas and their unemployment won't kick in until after. So we're going to stay open. I said, here's a box of New York steaks. Serve them up. It's on us. Get as much as you can for them and thank you for keeping your doors open. But the ABC, the Alcohol and Beverage Commission, was going around and trying to take away liquor licenses, the only authority they could do of anybody who was still open. So it was like this cat and mouse game. Well, people started messaging me on social media who was open. I said, stop. They're watching us. Like it was the whole thing. So people would email me and this movement got so big, eventually we had people wanting to help. And we brought in a couple pallets of meat out to the ranch. We prayed over it. I did a little sermon on, fishes and loaves in Matthew, where Jesus fed 5,000 and there was still 13 baskets left over. And we prayed over this thing, made a dispatch list, and all of our friends and family were dropping off meat to all these speakeasy restaurants that were trying to keep their doors open. Outlaw Christians, it's what our purpose is in life.
I think ultimately all of us are carnivores. We're outlaw Christians. We follow a guy who did something different than anyone else ever. He recognized that God's within all of us and our life is a God purpose. And so, my friend, you are living it, and we appreciate you being here. And we look forward to tasting more of your beautiful, amazing beef that with your heart and soul, you've helped us all heal every day. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you for that amazing compliment.
We love you.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, everyone, for sharing the word in the way. And ultimately, it's crazy, but yes, meat is the master meal, and fruits and vegetables, seeds and nuts of any significance or frequency may be the thing that's harming you. So meat every day, and maybe throwing it 3 times a day. God bless.